Razor from before.
Razor's banned. Nigma banned it with the lifesteal themselves.
No Tiny out there. There's still the OD. Yep. You could do an OD lifestealer against them.
Yeah, so you want to prioritize picking up We as hero like
this
point?
Not necessarily.
Legion
it's
Commander.
more like, what do you think is like when you're in this part of the drafting tool? It's more about what options.
Yeah.
Right. So if there is only one mid that could fit here, then you kind of have to grab it now.
But if there's multiple, you're not too worried about things getting banned out. So
yeah.
You can always later. They actually go for the Legion Commander.
10 seconds remaining.
Control hero.
I love it. Yeah, it's a great pick here. And I think that's why they prioritize the offlane, because there's not any other real offlaner that can do what Legion does, which is give you a save against the Bat Rider. Also kind of gives you a way to jump and go on the Morphling if you catch him in that duel before he's morphing strength. I like how this pick fits into their draft.
Yeah, they've got a lot of damage to follow it up, right? With successful duel with a percentage-based damage coming out of another Titan. That is a combination that feels very good. I think most of the matchups that you're looking at, like your matchup against Morphling isn't like super exciting, but you do have an answer to Fury on it because you deal with harassment damage very well off of your passive. And then the sustain from press the attack can really help you out in lane as well.
5 seconds
Gambit's lineup just feels like it can't ever really fight into Nigma. They can only really take small engagements, but team fights are seemingly out of the question, which is where Nigma having additional lockdown and catch is really good.
Yeah.
Is this something they can fix with their last pick? Like, is there one hero that would tick all those boxes? I mean, that's a lot of boxes.
Radiant team.
Kunkka's maybe the hero that stands out, that can give them a big team fight and a way to initiate. But I mean, Kunkka, lifesteal is just not afraid of the Kunkka, which to me is the hero you got to address. You need, I mean, you've got the Morphling, who's a pretty good matchup, but yeah, I don't know. I think it's hard to see one hero that's going to just change how this draft looks. You already don't feel like the Bat Rider Lasso against the lifesteal is going to be a counter when there's Legion Commander in the game.
I think you had so many options with that last pick. I think like Storm Spirit could have fit in. Maybe because of the bat matchup, some of the melee like Void and Ember Spirit maybe wouldn't work out as well. But like any sort of hero that just goes around and, you know, in Weehaw style, just goes and runs around and kills things is relatively fragile just because of the fact that they don't have the best way to be able to pressure you in team fights. Now, Lena's still going to have to be careful of the roaming potential of the Clockwork and being caught out by, you know, a big shotgun blast from the Morphling, but you just want to play for this game fast. And Gambit needed like a huge buff in their team fight. Kunkka does provide that.
Yeah. Yep, it does mean that our Bat Rider is going to be for Shaklo this time around. We talked a lot about the mid matchup, Kunkka versus Lina. How is that matchup and how is the tempo going to be set? Because I feel like Lina has a little bit of the edge on that one in terms of tempo setting anyway.
I mean, Kunkka should do just fine with the Bracer build and able to just constantly harass the Lina, so I'm not worried about... I don't think either mid player runs away with the matchup. It may come down to what the 4 positions do, but that's why they pick this Lina, is because they know they can't give Weehaw a matchup where he just loses the lane. So this Lina mid is going to have a lot of neutral matchups where you can just go 50-50. And Kunkka's kind of that very skill-based matchup.
No, that lane could be really hard just because of the fact they do have catch into Clockwork roaming in, right? On a squishy leading heroes. So I think that's where I would like Gambit to put the most pressure. I think they really need to shut down Weehaw here, make sure he doesn't get too far ahead. Plus, they need their Kunkka to be in a strong space. I'm not sure what the build is for this game. Maybe the Heaven's Halberd build because you're matched up against a Lifestealer, but they need a strong Kunkka to be able to slow down Push's towers.
All eyes on the middle lane.
At the same time, you watch the middle lane, Miracle's going to free farm, so watch out for that.
That's true, that is true. Yeah. Keep your eyes on the whole game. How about that one? Let's head over to ODPixel and Lacoste.
Thank you very much, Shiva. Yes. Gambit up against Nigma here in this best of 3. I'm ODPixel with Lacoste. We've just seen the draft. Anything that's particular stands out that you're excited to see or a little worried about this game?
We just broke the game, you and me together. Courier sniping.
Oh, yeah.
Nature's Prophet TPs, you X-mark him before that. Kills the courier, comes back.
Amazing.
He can't die.
Yeah.
Jokes aside, they have a global lineup, pretty easy to set up ganks with. Either a hookshot, Nature's Prophet TP with the X-mark. There's going to be easy to outnumber the opponent with this kind of a lineup. Kunkka, I would give a Kunkka 50 75, 60 to 40 in terms of the laning stage against Lina.
I'd agree. Yeah.
And if there's a rotation for opposition 4 early on, he gets level 6, then you get one more kill. But it's a miracle on life. We saw what he could do. He can dive fountain. 25, 30 minutes against they can't kill him. And you should not let this man free farm.
Yeah, but as you say, you know, Miracle Lifesteal is something we've seen before. You know, Gambit coming into this series, they're going to have expected it. Do you sort of see with their draft how they can sort of mess up his game early on? You know, surely this is not going to be another game where Miracle's just given free farm. He's sort of ignored. Gambit's going to put the pressure on earlier. Yeah,
there is a bit limitation in terms of catching this Morphling before you get a Blink Dagger on the Legion Commander, or if he overextends, you know, but he should always be able to get the Morph off.
Yeah.
There is burst damage only on Lina.
Yeah, and as sort of the game goes on, it gets later. This Morph should be able to outcarry a Lifestealer, right? You've just got the favorable hero matchup.
Yeah, you also want to turn into Lifestealer, so you have that free BKB for him.
Where are you going?
Also, Nature's Prophet should do very well in the lane against Kuroki. I'm wondering if Kuroki wants to heal some of the creeps.
He's just straight at it. Nigma diving down bottom. And he's come out all on his own there. No one else around to be able to help push them off. First blood for Nigma onto Dream. They'll also be able to pull the FNG away here, maybe. Try and chase him also. Look at the spirit out, the slows there. GH, Mind Control, and Kuro, they'll chase this one down. I don't know if FNG can get himself away. He's been slowed down by the Orb Venom. Nigma, they're going to start off this game with a couple of kills down here. 2 kills for Nigma here. This trio just having no trouble at all killing them off. Stop Miracle. Get the control of the outpost for now. Vampire's going to start pushing him away, harassing with the battery assault a little bit. Creeps will come through, so tanking up a bit of it. But we'll see how the lanes settle up, but not the dream start for the Gambit. Those 2 losses early on.
I like what you did there, Dream.
Got him. For these other lanes, now FN in mid, up against Weeha. You said it, you feel like there's an edge for the Kunkka. I mean, this is a lane, right, where the Kunkka shouldn't die, right? You're
he
tanky,
not die.
You're getting your braces, you just don't have the burst on a Weeha to sort of threaten a Kunkka kill, really.
Every single time he gets close, we'll get hit a couple of times by Lina, secure the range creep with the Dragon Slave, and you're gonna get harassed. Same thing goes for Tidebringer. FN will try to use the Torrent to secure the range creep with that Tidebringer on top of it, get some extra harassment.
And this Kunkka's going to play such a major part in the game for Gambit down the line. You look at sort of these pick-off heroes, right? The Lina, the LC, they're going to rely on getting those kills in the mid-game with the Laguna Blades, with the duels. As long as FN's around and he's able to offer up the safety, the run from the boat, it's going to make it very hard for Nigma to get those quick kills. You cannot underestimate the run, and it's especially going to be that much more useful this game where Nigma have this ability with the aura from GH to reduce armor, to reduce resistance. At least Kunkka's able to sort of counteract that, buff his heroes back up so Nigma cannot get quick kills.
Yeah, once Clockwork gets to level 2, they might grab a kill on Kuroki, but he has a creep right now, so they need to play around that timing. Vampire in a bit of trouble. Yeah, if he can just buy time, that's fine. They just let him go.
Yep, he's still got a south. Because he's out of mana as well, he's just going to take the trip back to base. TP out of here. Shashlow's been able to pull the creep wave around, so nothing of experience will be lost for Gambit. They've been able to maintain control of that top lane in terms of farm. But it is going to be the situation, you know, where if Shashlow is mid, a bit of a trader, Weeha. Not if with the Dragon Slaver being just level 1, of course, with the 1/1/1 would not have been enough to push the Kunkka over the edge. As Weeha was able to push him away, make sure that rune's not going to be picked up by any roaming support. Mangoes are out. Weeha will be able to get himself top to back up and run. Continue to apply that pressure. But as expected, mid CS pretty much even between these heroes right now.
Oh, one more slave. It's on cooldown. This is going to be tough. He does not have a point in X mark the spot. He just brought something on the courier. Yeah, that's a healing salve and the tango, which will get him to full HP. Vampire actually making a move on the bottom. Now it's going to be 3 against 3.
Yeah, that's what we like to see. Some good tri lane action. That's where all the chaos can ensue. But this, it does mean that top lane, I feel it's got to be a little bit of a worry there for Gambit. You are allowing the situation to happen when Miracle's Lifestealer, he's going to get that space that we've seen many teams before give to this Lifestealer of Miracles, and Miracle's able to run away with the game. They're planning their head down the lines because, as it seems, they don't feel they can do anything about it now.
Miracle is doing such a good job just understanding the hero and how far he can go, especially with trading the hits, getting the most out of that lane, out of that lifestealer. If Prophet TP's mid, once Kunkka gets Lina low, that little bit of extra damage could get them a kill.
Certainly got to watch Weeha's HP if We'll try to continue to clip him with the Tidebringers, but as it is, Weeha doing a good job with the Light Strike arrays to mess with the CS of FN and just not allowing him to really get the angle to try and trade back with Tidebringer hits and Torrents. Bottom lane, FNG is going to be slowed and focused. Vampire will swing across, big nuke from Microchop, brings him low, but won't quite kill him off as they will live. And this mid lane, yeah, it seems like FN, he's just really struggling to get an angle to harass Weeha at all. Weeha's just consistently sitting at full HP. FN never really being able to find the Tidebringer hits, and now with this DD rune pickup, this mid lane's going to get even harder for FN, and Weeha's punches, they're going to hurt.
Wee's playing this really amazing. He's pushing out the lanes. Alright, the Dream is gone. Back to Wee on the mid lane. He outpushes the lane, controls the rune, even though the previous rune was Invis, which he killed. It mattered too much, but the DD, all clockwork.
Yeah, this is smart. They know that Weeha wants to play aggressive with the DD, so Vampire's moved over. They're going to get on top of them. Weeha does land the two-man Light Strike array, but they're surrounded, and we are probably going to get a kill or two out of this. He'll get the one and post the Fairy Fire. He's going to have the movement speed as well. FN has got anything else. Here's the TP back. About FNG coming across to try and help, but another stun. We are getting the two of them. Turns to the Dragon Slave, gets the dive. We are will live the treants. They will chase him, but there won't be enough to kill him. GH is even going to come across and give a good bit of a punch to FN. But some smart plays from We Are playing aggressively. They wanted to try and punish it with the clock rotation, but they just didn't have enough to deal with the Lina.
If FNG hit him twice instead and one hit from Kunkka, I think that would be enough to actually finish off the Lina. Dream is also not having an okay time on the bottom lane.
Yeah, they need to keep this more safe.
A lot of resources early on spent on healing cells on this Kunkka. If we switch the network real quick, I just want to see the difference between Lina and Kunkka. Yeah, it's already 700. Sorry, 300.
It's building up. It's early days, and definitely the Warriors, that free farm lifestealer. They've got to do something about it, Gambit, as that problem's only going to get bigger and bigger. I think pressure's going to be on to Shashlo to make moves. He's obviously being able to pull the waves. He's the most farmed hero at the moment on the map for Gambit. So getting his 6, getting that lasso is going to be all important, and then he needs backup. He needs additional help so he can try and get in, lasso the lifestealer, play around the rage, and somehow kill him off. But it's not going to be easy with the start that they've given Miracle's lifestealer on this top lane.
Yeah, Gambit switching to a tri-lane on bottom does not benefit them at all. Like, you get more damage from Spirit, more heroes, you get more damage from Overwhelming Gods on top of some treants from Nature's Prophet.
We are trying his luck a bit with his haste rune. That the Firefly will wear off, but wants to use the rest of that haste to return back to mid, make sure he doesn't miss out on the creep wave being pushed into the tower. Yeah, Gambit just kind of struggling to get anything done on the map at the moment in these lanes. You're already seeing 6 minutes in, Nigma starting to build up already a 3k lead in
courier has been killed.
FNG will be able to find a courier snipe, gets behind the tower. GH will keep his courier that little bit safer as he'll hold it away from the Prophet.
I want to see rotation from FN against this tri-lane, get a kill, or if Clockwork rotates to the mid lane. Oh, is that going to be another courier snipe?
I mean, FNG's dying. He's looking for it. He's going to make the trip now, help him find it. He'll die, but he'll stay. That's worth. As he takes down second courier within the minute.
You need to help other lanes. Top lane, Batrider is doing okay in terms of CS, but bottom lane, Morphling is struggling, so you need to address that problem.
Find out the best movement. I think, you know, as you mentioned, the obvious thing to do is to just get something done with this Kunkka. FN's getting the levels. Obviously, ganking top, very hard to do against the lifestealer with rage, but definitely potential plays he can make elsewhere. He's got that great combo to land and utilize.
Courier has been
Another
killed.
full, and that's a big one. That was the completed armlet, I believe, being taken away from Miracle. So Shashlo will slow that down for a little minute. Question is, of course, if they can really do anything with that timing and still go for the lifestealer without those items. He's still very hard to tackle at the moment.
Fuel for my fire.
Half the component of that armlet, he would be way too far.
Yeah. Hang on, if that was a full armlet. Mid lane, entire setup comes into play, but a TP's already over from GH, and Weeha just, as I say, he's played in a way where FN just has never really been able to bring him down low. So there's never sort of that opportunity, as you mentioned, that Gambit would have wanted to look for earlier, where Weeha, he's sort of harassed low by the Tidebringer spam, and then a TP comes in from the Prophet. Weeha has just been doing an excellent job of avoiding being in that situation at all.
I love positioning from Miracle in this game. He's standing behind the tier 1 tower, and he can also rotate to the mid lane. We saw that today already, where he ganks with the lifestealer the mid lane.
Not
Go
gonna
watch out for
happen.
those investments. Very confident playing around them. Movement from mid,
Dyer's
Weeha
courier
down towards bottom.
has been killed.
He'll help them pick up poor old Vampire, who's really struggling to get much done at the moment as this support clock, just a couple of deaths. As you know, 7-0, they still are struggling to find their first kill. They look for Miracle, and they will get it. Very, very big kill for Gambit. Exactly what they needed. They outplay him. The combination between the last and just the pure damage offered by the Kunkka, enough to finally take Miracle off the map. They've got to keep this up. This is the hero you have to be most worried about if you're Gambit.
Batrider did not have a
courier
point
has
in
been killed.
Lasso, even though he was already level 7, and now he put 1. He understood that the Miracle is playing a bit too aggressive. Also, JJ showing that the FNG is just killing the couriers all over again.
And it adds up, you know, a decent bit of money for the whole squad every time he does it. And Gambit, after that kill on Miracle, they're staying on the aggressive up top. Dashflow just diving on towards the tier 2 chasing DH. One more hit will do it. He'll get the kill.
TP out.
TP out. He will not make it away. Nick do get the kill in return.
This Batrider is extremely farmed.
Yeah.
Windlace,
Dyer's middle tower is
with the
under
Blind
attack.
Dagger. Also, he needs the help. Like, he should play with this Kunkka. Kunkka needs to be more active.
We'll see where FN wants to head next. Albert queued up. That's what he wants to pick up.
Vampire needs to buy Tome for himself, only level 4. At this point, you don't care too much about Nature's Prophet being under-leveled, not having that level 6, and here it comes.
Yeah, and once he does, you know, eventually get that 6, there's the heroes that are incredibly vulnerable to the clock being on top of them, the both supports and even the mid, Weeha's Lina. If XS Vampire can get on them, set up with the cogs, every single time, FN will be able to offer that follow-up pretty consistently with the Tar and Boat, and they'll get the kills on these 3 heroes. They're not tanky heroes early on at all. Now back towards mid, Shash goes up, he sweeps across, here's the last one, Jackson backing away. FN's going to attempt to head over, will get caught out by the stop, the sleep. He's not even needed though, Shash though, he's just doing this alone. Really nice
is
stuff from
keeping
that.
them in this game,
He
putting
is.
the pressure on the top lane, killing the Miracle, stopping his farm. Also can't be anywhere on the map. They should be careful about this global presence from the Nature's Prophet, TPing, Boots of Travel on Batrider. Also, Clockwork got his hook shot ready.
Now this is...
Dyer's courier has
It
been
is
killed.
In fact, XS Vampire comes across to try and handle the
Tower
cogs.
is
Miracle will be
under
able to fight
attack.
his way out and kill off FNG. But FNG will consider his job done once more. As I've sort of lost count of the couriers that he has killed.
Nice
but he's
snap
killed a lot.
5.
As up top, they'll turn towards Dream. Dream, he has got XS Vampire around, and 6 has been hit, so hook shots available if needed. Miracle will continue to try and chase. Do manage to land the stop, but the cogs will push him back momentarily. Still, Miracle dives on
Radiant's
forward.
bottom tower
Does
is
get
under
shot to the side by the adaptive strike. He'll turn his attention over to the clock instead. Light Strike Array and the Laguna nukes down Vampire before he can drop a single spell. They'll get the kill on the clock, but the Morph will be saved. He will retreat and get out of there. Still, just watching this back, Shashlo, he's pretty much got the blink on top of the Boots of Travel at 12 minutes in. He's playing excellently. They had this situation top where they said, it's fine, let Miracle have free farm. We're going to make sure that the Bat's able to continue to pull waves and get this incredible amount of farm. We've seen teams do this against Nigma, against his Miracle Lifestealer, but then not do anything with that advantage the offlaner has. Shashlo, he's utilizing that power exactly when it's needed.
You have that BKB piercing ability, so you can just play that aggressive. And Miracle, like, his aggressiveness throughout this tournament has been like off the charts.
Yeah, and to the point where it has cost Nigma some games. You know, Miracle has he has
fired
face and things. You've got to watch out. You know, Miracle in games like the one yesterday, right? 15k advantage, an incredible start with the Slark, and a mistake or two, it slips all away. So Gambit, they know that there's a weakness they can punish. And top lane, they're going to try for it. Dragging back into the done. They'll attempt with Cog to push back to continue to disable him, but he's still able to get into the creep, infest, and keep his distance. Miracle will survive. Gambit unsuccessful with the attempt this time round. Bottom lane, hunting for FNG in the trees. Kuro and Mike Chop, they'll find him. They'll bring him back with a duel. Can they kill him in time, though? They won't get the bonus damage, but they will surely get the kill. Yeah, the final nuke takes FNG down. No chance for an escape as Nigma can remain keeping the pressure on this bottom lane.
This should be a tower on the bottom lane, and though they popped the glyph, but the global presence, if they all decide to TP, they're pinging it out.
Now Shashlo sweeping across. No,
Where's
less
the
so for
boat?
a minute.
I did not see a single boat.
Yeah, it was a bit sort of talking up. Shashlo's movements, FNs have kind of slowed down. Maybe just sort of focused on finishing his item. He will now turn up to the fight here, and a great time to do so. The setup there with the X-Mark, dragging Mike Control back. As much you can do to help him out. As Mike Control gets pushed back by the Cog, does get the buff off, continues to run away. The ult from GA does pull them back, and in fact, that's enough separating Gambit from the Legion commander. Mind Control's actually able to sneak away from underneath the noses of 4 heroes.
Yeah, because of the build, could Phase Boost Magic Wand on top of Raindrop, like any magical damage they have is going to be mitigated by those items.
Now he's out of there and he's full HP. He'll go back towards the mid where FN will show and try and push this out. But that's pretty much done. So FN, he can really cause some issues for heroes, especially this life stealer, making it very hard for Miracle to play potentially as aggressive as he wants to, particularly when you see, Miracle, he does love this sort of armlet build, the build for killing. FN, he's got an item to answer it. Halberd's done.
Kuroki just playing with the mouse at the moment to 117 actions per minute.
Now, who had so there was some high actions there as well, but... Kuro's playing it chill. Doesn't even need to plug in his key. Just roaming around as an ant. You've only got a few buttons, a few spells to use. Get that impetus on auto-cast.
Are fortified.
Easy job.
Is that how you play?
Yeah.
Auto-cast? All right.
Well, I wouldn't call it playing. It's pretty bad. But, and she's kind of a strong hero at the moment.
Tower is under attack.
Mid lane.
Middle tower is
I'll
under
look for a
attack.
tier 1 here. Any sort of defense from Gambit? It's not going to be the case. They're going to try for the
Radiant's
trade.
middle tower
Top lane,
has
Exos
fallen.
Vampire Dream pushing on as they'll start knocking on the tier 1. Nigma, I'll bring it towards the tier 2. Or
Radiant's
maybe
middle tower is under
for a
attack.
chance to sweep up towards that top lane that they know is getting pushed in
Dire
against them.
structures are
As Dream,
fortified.
he's hanging around.
Dire's
TP
top
starts to
tower
come in.
is
Dream's
under attack.
gotta be careful
Radiant
about
structures
how he
are
exits this.
fortified.
He's gonna go for the TP straight away for the tree line, and he'll get out before any sort of backup from Nuka's
Radiant's
inbound.
top
Another
tower
tower's
has
taken.
fallen.
Nigma starting to move around the map as a unit, and they're taking these objectives away from Gambit.
It's hard to start a fight.
Clear
with the Nigma's
sailing
lineup. They
now.
need to get close, or V needs to use that Yule Scepter. It's really not easy.
The river, Empire, and FN smoked up a little bit of a break from Casho here as he draws them over. There's the opening for the hook into the yard. Now look at the X-Fire combo. He heals himself up defensively, but he still gets caught out by the boat. He harbor full. Now Miracle and Mind Control turn up. Into the halberd, onto the lifesteal. Pop the rage. He's shifting up. Is it enough to keep him alive? It is. Dream will still live. They'll lose the clock. They'll turn over towards Dream. He waveforms away. Nigma, have they got any further catch? The Spirit
Dire's
Sound.
middle tower is under attack.
Shashlo trying to slow them down and push back with the adaptive. Will stun Miracle for the time being. The stomp won't get him. The Dream's under the tower. This is Miracle though. He's aggressive. He wants to keep going. Shashlo will be able to punish it. Drags him back with the lasso. Separates him from the Morphling. So Miracle won't get the kill. Shashlo able to protect Dream.
There's no follow-up. If Kunkka used his spells, they can't really go on the Lifestealer. They have enough lockdown with the Clockwork and the Batrider Lasso. He did a good job not using it in the previous fight. They got Lina without it. But Lifestealer, really tough not to crack. Right now, with the arm at 2000 HP.
And with that, Desto certainly packs a punch. It's now from the bottom, Shashlo. They are looking for him. Nigma trying to head towards this bat. He is a very juicy catch as his game continues to be very nice. All three cores really of Gambit in a solid position. I mean, across the board, it is very close. Sure, 12-4. Only a 2K lead in it, though. And pretty much all of that on the Lifestealer. So anytime there's a situation without that Lifestealer involved, Gambit is still going to be comfortable taking these fights. Mid lane FNG causing a bit of a disturbance and a distraction as Kuro will head back for him. I don't know if there's any way he can escape this, just to try and take as long as he can to FNG will
Dire's
fall.
middle tower has
FNG
fallen.
0-6-1, but he
Dire's
killed
top tower is
a lot
under
of the
attack.
couriers. This game does not have a place, actually, after that bad laning stage. They need one item on the morph. That's going to be E-Blade for him. So this is going
This gang can take
Dire's
advantage
top
of my
tower is
surprise.
under attack.
Mike Control able to just get the walk up and duel around the tree line, and Miracle's inside him ready to fight as well.
It will be a saving item once they get that Ethereal Blade plus some extra nuke damage that they need. Right now they're pretty limited. Clockwork doesn't provide that much. Ninja Prophet is hard to explain.
Imagine that Gambit want to get over there. They do have those wards that would have seen Nigma step over towards the Roche pit. But with the Deso, maybe just doing it a little too quickly for Gambit to do anything. They do have the hook shot, so we could look for a steal here if Excess Vampire wants to commit.
Nice.
Got a lot of timing, but indeed, the creep control from Courage. Plays from both GH and Courage just block off any route of access for Vampire. The boat comes crashing down. He'll try for the TPL, but they've got 4 enough to hold him in place, set him up for the duel as Roshan, Aegis, and the bonus duel damage all goes to Nigma. Gambit cannot contest the Roshan time.
This build on Miracle that he's been using for past 3-4 days, it's super effective, pretty easy to make, cost efficient, and it gives you potential to go for the objectives, Roche and the towers.
It is hit. FNG tries to block Miracle off. Won't save FNG. FNG gone, and now Shash though has to be a little careful. It is an incredibly slippery hero to catch with that blink, and working on that 4-staff next so he can have extra ways to sort of play around these side lanes and not worry about the catch that Nigma's going to try and use. There it is, that's the reveal. Steps up to mid. Quick use of the E-Blade, and Kuro is dead. So Dream very much ready to join the rest of his causes. We sort of see Gambit fall back into this farming pattern, just getting these big items done. Now with the E-Blade on morph, you can expect them to get a little more active.
Kashlo is doing such a good job just cutting the waves, almost has max movement speed with this build. Extra wind lace, I love that on Batrider.
See here, sort of particular items. I mean, yeah, say sort of the buff from the brooch as well on the back. Very nice to have. One of those very tasty early game neutral items that you can find on heroes that want to be as active and roam as much as Shashto on his bat. Halbert's done for Miracle. That extra tankiness, buff up to the amount of heals he's going to be providing himself. And having that disarm to counteract a lot of the damage really coming from both the Kunkka and the Morph. Still obviously ways to play with the magical output they offer. That's another courier. FNG's able to get back to business.
That's a lot of gold that you get from the couriers right now.
You had them all up. He's going in aggressively. He's going to wait for forward, turn his flash to pump the rage, but he's taken a decent amount of right clicks, so he has to start shifting back into strength. Looks for Weehaw. Weehaw will be able to dodge that final nuke with the Yules. He needs assistance. He has to wait for him back again to get himself away. He will live. But very refreshing to see, Dream really starting to get stuck in, diving in like that to 4 heroes. He knows his limits as the Morph, and he's ready to utilize them. It's mid, bit of a play around with Miracle, but with both Rage and Aegis, not a hero that Gambit can commit anymore to. Not that they need to. They'll let him go.
Dream needs to be careful about Elder Titan's aura. Once that's maxed out, like removing all of his armor on top of Deso, that's gonna be tricky. Right now it's only level 2.
Oh yeah. Yeah, once that is up, you're absolutely right. Any sort of stun that holds
and the GH, he understands I need to be on top of him, so that's why he's building a BKB. He needs to be close. They don't have any abilities besides Lasso that go through BKB.
Yeah, and their best method of sort of dealing with GH would have been the sort of E-Blade combo from Morph. So once that's there, of course the problem.
Half HP.
This is it's a tanky hero. Yeah, you sort of see it here. They are laying down the ult. Miracle's going to come in. Can they actually kill off FN? FN BKB is running. Miracle staying on top. Yeah, actually gets the hook shot in. Excess Vampire will disrupt the play from Miracle, pushing back in towards the tower, but doesn't manage to get away. Laguna Blade from Weehard takes the clock out of the map, but at least able to provide some sort of safety for FN to get away with. Nigma, they'll stay on the aggressive as they've got this bottom lane pushing in. down bottom. And with that Aegis, they can be very much ready to try and pressure high. And they're 23 minutes in. Is this another courier? It is.
That's a blink
FNG.
dagger.
Oh,
Radiant's bottom tower is
very,
under
very
attack.
tasty.
Mind control, so he won't be able to position himself, get that initiation that they were kind of lacking. Smoke.
Dire's
Gambit
top
can see
tower
this.
is under attack.
And they're losing the base pretty
Radiant's
quickly.
bottom
That
barracks
is
are under attack.
They're going to be onto the barracks.
Dire's
Don't
top
find the
tower
tier 2
has
top,
fallen.
but they're just conceding this bottom lane. They're not going to try and put a defense together. They feel that with the Aegis, they cannot
Radiant's
touch Miracle the
bottom
once,
barracks
let
have
alone the
fallen.
twice. So they just watch the barracks fall.
Very nice trade.
And Nigma-
Third year for tier 3 tower and the Raxes.
And the map's not quite checking out for Gambit in terms of that event. They've got the money. It's just not quite on par with that of Miracle. They have to somehow catch this Lifestealer out.
The way Nigma has been playing over the past few days is have Miracle getting all the farm on the map, and
Look at this, man.
the
Courier
rest of the
has
team is
been
just
killed.
itemizing differently. You see, V, he's like a core who's not gonna scale with this kind of item, so they're relying on Miracle to solo carry this. If you watch the game, he played the Tiny, 4 staffs, drums. Again, Miracle, he's their late game insurance. Even though it's not looking like it's gonna come to late game at all.
Yeah, everything's starting to really build up to this point, this 25-minute era, which I feel like, you know, Nigma, the games that they have been able to win, they have sort of fallen between this 25-30-minute mark where they really start to push on with the power that they've built up. They're coming out mid. Gambit, this is an opportunity to get it onto Miracle, but whoa! Dream's just gone! He stepped forward and he was a little too low. Weehart basically just one-shots the poor old Morph. And Dream, he's without buyback.
Now it's time to go. More Nigma. More players, man. These days, they're so greedy, morphing everything without having a vision on that high ground. So Lina just snipes them.
Yeah, one of the reasons why you don't see Lina in a game much against a Morph, as is normally taken away if the team wants to present the Morphling pick. As you just get caught out, you disappear in a snap with that huge burst from the Laguna Blades. You've got to be careful, you've got to keep a D number and make sure that you never have it too low when you don't have full vision around where you're playing. As this mid lane now, off the back of those kills, Nigma can get in and look to take a second set of rounds away from Gambit. They will have to carry back in 5, but the buildings just fall so fast.
Middle barracks are under attack.
And the buff
Radiant's
from the
middle
Legion,
barracks have
Miracle
fallen.
cleans up on the mid lane. It's 25 minutes in.
Radiant's middle
2
barracks
sets
have
of
fallen.
4 racks down against Gambit. The game is only getting harder for them.
Was that Laguna?
It was. And he's tanky now. FN, not quite like Dream. Doesn't really care about a Laguna. Don't care about sort of the full combo. GH setups the ult. Pops the BKB. I don't know if this will save him as FN doesn't manage to get the boat or any sort of extra safety out in time. Kunkka will fall. It's Gambit. They're starting to hemorrhage kills on their all-important carries.
At one point, you gotta fight them. This is how Nigma was playing. They
Dire's
park
middle
and
tower
stall
is
your
under
base, kill the
attack.
Raxes without even taking a fight.
So, you know, FNG, I mean, he's doing his bit. He's going for these couriers consistently. I think he's easily killed over 10 couriers this game. Miracle, now will be able to get a bit of revenge as Nigma themselves finally take out a courier this match. FN was trying to get it out towards that shop.
Invisibility.
Won't make it. Dream. E-Blade nearly done. So at least with that, some sort of safety against the combo. Obviously, they do have ways to break the Lincolns before the Laguna Blade comes in. But even sort of just that little bit of time can be enough to allow the Morph to start shifting and stop himself from dying straight up to Weehar's Lina. And he's
A
hiding.
lot of couriers killed this game.
As a bit of a courier bloodbath. Players for Gambit now. Very hard for them to really leave the base with these 2 racks being taken away from them this early on.
Burrow, we talked about his APM. Now he's increasing it.
Oh, he is spamming that Q.
You stop.
Top lane. There we go. Stretching his arms a bit.
Radiant's top tower is
And
under
tier 2,
attack.
it'll be gone. Or will it? You see the line being drawn by Gambit. They're going to try and make this smoke play outside of the base. I think, you know, they kind of
Radiant's
have.
top tower
The last 2 times
has
they tried to
fallen.
defend from the high ground, it haven't gone great. They'll find Weehar separated, but Weehar's got a blink, so as immediately as Dream turns towards him, Weehar's out of there. And now, Gambit, they're going to be pretty aware of what's going on. Sure, you know, they'll see Dream on his own, but they know it's very likely that Dream has backup smoked up around him. And they're just going to ignore it for now. Keep the wave pushed in on the top lane. Roshan is up. Gambit. The smoke will start to end. They're trying to get in onto Nigma on the back line. The Jules there. Can they put a stop to this? Looks like the back line. Cogs are out. A miracle. Big time. Caught out by the right side. Then runs to the back. Oh, Morse in so much trouble as he wavebombs away. He has to run as he gets Laguna down low. Mind control will fall. FNG able to TP back to safety. Then focusing Dream. Trying to TP out. But the net, the stop. It's all there to hold back the morph. Another attempt to waveform away. Returns the Legion to buff himself up, given some sort of heal. He'll use the E-Blade. He's trying to play away from these heroes, but they'll continue to chase him. The Dragon Slave clips him and Mind Control slices him down.
When Morph shows in a team fight, GH just starts following him. He wants that aura on top of him to remove all of his base armor and magical resistance. Morph does not have a buyback. He does not invested everything into that. This is it.
They just caught it. I mean, you got to understand, it certainly felt like this was a game where 2 rounds down, Gambit, they just weren't able to do anything. They sat back, they know it's their best interest to just focus on what they want to bring to game 2 rather than wasting any more time on this game 1. As Nigma, they get away with it once more. Miracle on his Lifestealer, gets that lane, that free opportunity to have the free farm. Nigma make a hell of a lot of space around the map, and Gambit, it never came together in time. We saw okay farm on their cores, but they just were never able to make any plays against Nigma, other than FNG sort of in his own world, killing couriers for the whole match.
FNG against the couriers, and you had Shachlo cutting the creep waves, getting some pickoffs. But other than that, I did not feel the presence of the other 3 heroes.
Yeah, a bit of a slow game played by Gambit, and that punished, of course, by Nigma. Another one of these games within sort of this 30-minute bracket. Just turn it up, they push to their advantage, and they know that the enemy's got nothing to slow them down. And again, we saw it once more. The Lifestealer pick, it gets through. It doesn't get punished. Surely it's got to be taken away.